Today, we got Donald Burns talking about accountability, talking about checklists, operational checklists for excellence. So, Donald, I'll let you kind of take the mic here and run with it because this is your expertise, guys. Guys, if you got questions as we go through the webinar today, please feel free to talk. Like, put your questions in the chat below. Type them in as you think of them. If you want to hold them for the end, you can do that as well. We'll have about 30 to 45 minutes of Donald presenting, and then we'll have some time at the end for questions too. So the more interaction from the audience, the better. Feel
Oh,
free to pepper Donald with questions. He's ready to handle them.
I'm ready. I'm always like, I like the challenge of trying to get stumped. Try to throw something at me I haven't heard before. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, welcome to Building Accountability, Operational Checklist for Excellence. I always like to start off with one of the quotes that I talk about in all my books. Boom. All business problems are people problems. And then, I didn't clear this by Luke. But, so I'm gonna give you a free gift at end. Luke, sorry. I'm gonna tell you now, you're gonna have to deal
Uh-oh.
with it. Sorry, man.
I guess we're
But
doing
we're gonna tell him, like, and also it's like I picked a bad day to give this gift out for there was a good amount of people show up on this call today. So, oh my god, this is gonna all right. It's gonna be good though. It's gonna be good. So stick around towards the end. Gotta stay in the call. If you jump off the call, you don't get the gift. No gift for a replay. Sorry, gotta be here live. That's where we're gonna push you to be here live on these calls on Wednesday. You show up live. There are perks for showing up live. Sound good? All right. Let's talk about the rules for today. Of course, I gotta lay down the house rules. Of course, have some fun, please. Learning is always best when accompanied by enjoyment. Please ask us questions. I am here to answer any questions you have. If anything piques your interest, there's confusion, speak up. You have two options. You can either go into the chat or we have the Q&A button on the webinar too. So either way, we will look at the questions. I usually have the chat open at the same time, so I can usually multitask a little bit. I can do the presentation and also read the chat at the same time. And I know Luke will also kind of field out some questions if he feels there's something that's relevant right then in the slides. So, and remember, hashtag WTSD. If you've been to my webinars, this is my favorite thing. I say this in all seminars I do. If I'm speaking on the stage, hashtag WTSD, write this shit down. It's not just a cool hashtag. It's actually, research has actually shown if you write stuff down in your own handwriting, you are 70% more likely to retain the information 30 days from now. So keep those pens poised, have a notebook. Anytime, I always say, when you show up for a webinar with me, have a piece of paper and a pen. All right. If you've never met me before, is this your first time on the webinar? I am Donald Burns. I am the restaurant coach. I am a recovering restaurant owner. I am a consultant. I've consulted with multiple big, huge billion-dollar full-service, like broadline distributor brands. Cisco Foods. I've consulted with U.S. Food Service, Shamrock Foods. I've done some big ones. I'm also a chef. I was a chef when I owned my own restaurants. I was a chef owner. And then I was an executive chef with Wolfgang Puck. Went around the country opening up restaurants for Wolf. I'm also an author. I have quite a few books out. My most famous ones are the Your Restaurant Sucks trilogy. My latest book just came out in January. It's a Savage Restaurant Success. And I actually have a new book coming out in the end of next month. It's called Ingredients. It's going to be another great one too. We're going to do actually a little book launch with the group here. And you guys you're going to get some actually cool VIP workshops ahead of the public. So I'm going to give you guys in all the restaurant growth webinar series, I'm going to give you some advanced training on some of the stuff I'm going to showcase in the ingredients book. So stay tuned for that. So like a lot of people, I started out small restaurant, 1995, little hole in the wall place in Michigan. That's why I said Michigan. And small. This was actually a picture of my restaurant. 50 little seats, had an open kitchen, and like a lot of people, I thought running a restaurant was all you needed to open a restaurant, and I got in over my head. I was very, very fortunate that I had a business coach who helped me understand that, again, all business problems were people problems, and that I was the biggest problem. And I was looking at the combination of restaurant success wrong. So what we started doing is he actually started teaching me this thing called the 3P framework. And we're going to go in a little bit more about the 3P framework as we dig into some of these modules and stuff like that. And you're going to see that this thing was a game changer for me. And over the years, especially the last 14 years, as I've been the restaurant coach, I've expanded this 3P framework out into a system that is actually doesn't matter where you are in the world. This thing works no matter what your economy is, what kind of restaurant you have. This thing works when you work the system. So first question up, and you can just type into the chat. Who has problems with their team following or completing checklist? Type in the chat. Me, oh yeah. I get this call every month. Somebody's like, hey, yeah, my team won't follow the checklist. I can't give them the, or I got half the team doing the checklist. The other half doesn't do the checklist. And I get like 50% compliant. I remember I asked the restaurant owner one time on a call, I said, how many people you got working with you? And the question was like, how many people you got working with you? I just want to know like how many people was on his team. And he said a question that really made me think. He goes, 50%. I'm like, oh God, only 50% are working with you. The other worker working against you. That's not a good equation. So today we're going to talk about how do I actually get that team to follow a checklist? How do I buy accountability, or how do I get my team to have some accountability? Now, this thing is a little different than what you thought it was. I would say it's operational checklist for excellence. We're going to be talking about the number one thing that drives accountability. We're going to be talking a little bit about culture. This is one of my favorite quotes from Peter Drucker. I said, hashtag write this shit down. Culture eats strategy for breakfast every single time. I know a lot of restaurants that do really well on the sales side, really bad on the profitability side, really bad on the restaurant owners being stuck in their restaurants all the time. I had a call with a person this morning. The person has like the restaurant's doing, over $3 million in sales, and the owner has to work 7 days a week. I don't know about you, but that's not living. No, you're doing really good. You got the sales going. Now let's try to get your life back. And that's one of the reasons that this accelerator program, this 3P framework, is so powerful. It is always people, product, process. You have to understand, like if it was a combination lock, if I gave you a 3-digit lock and I said, like, Luke, open the lock. Luke's like, what's the combination? That's the secret. And if I gave Luke the combination, he could open the lock whenever he wants. My job as a coach is to teach you how to open the lock so you can open it as many times as you want. It is always people, product, process. And inside each level, there's a series of things we have to do to unlock that level. In the people part, we got to do some strengths. We got to talk about culture. We talk about hiring. Then we move into the product part. It's always food cost, and then menu design, and then marketing. And in the process part, it's systems, strategy, and profitability. Now, today's workshop, I'm going to be focusing on these bottom two sections today. We're going to talk a little bit about culture, a little bit about hiring, to try to get this accountability where you need to be so I can get the team to actually have some buy-in, and they'll actually start doing the checklist the way you want to. All right. This is going to be a huge game changer. And the workshops I'm going to be referencing is I'm going to do a little bit of what I call our Know Why workshop, which is our culture workshop, and a little bit of our talent attraction method, which is our hiring one. So make sure you have your piece of paper and a pen ready. Here we go. Checklist with character, cultivating culture of accountability. So I'll tell you, in the restaurant world, you know it, I know it, it is fast-paced. It is ever evolving. It is ever changing. It is moving, shaking all the times. Operational efficiency and consistency. Those are two words I want you to remember. Actually 3 words. Operational efficiency and consistency are their cornerstones of success. Yet one of the biggest challenges most restaurant owners face is fostering an environment where accountability and commitment are not just expected, but they actually are embraced by every team member. This is what we call the transformative power of operational checklist. A lot of people have checklists. If your checklist is not being used properly, it's not operational. It's just basically a piece of paper on the wall collecting dust. We're going to intertwine this with a strong cultural foundation. I'm going to show you how important culture plays into getting accountability. So operational checklists serve as kind of a vital tool in ensuring that every aspect of your restaurant's operations from the kitchen to the dining room function flawlessly, right? Now, the effectiveness of these checklists really depends largely if you have a culture of accountability and also if you have a culture of a commitment within the team. There's two big things I talk about in my very first book, Your Restaurant Sucks: compliance versus commitment. What's the difference? Compliance is they do it for your reason. Commitment, they do it for their own reason. We always want to move our team from compliance to commitment. That's the most powerful thing you can do. A culture that champions those values of accountability and commitment, I'm telling you, you're going to have a dramatic chance of improving not only your profitability, but you're also going to see there's an enhancement in the precision and dedication in which all the things in your restaurant are done. And that's ultimately going to lead to improved guest satisfaction, and you're going to see a growth in profits. I would tell you from honest, if someone told me 20 years ago or 28 years when I had my first restaurant, if someone had told me that culture had such a big impact on my profits, I would have said, you're crazy. It's just marketing and P&L and maybe some food costing. And that's what I thought was the key to restaurant success. I just got to do I have a good menu. I got some good food. I got some good service. My food cost is pretty decent and I got some good sales and I can do some marketing. I should be able to make some money. It wasn't like that at all. So I'm going to talk about today, we're going to dive deep into how restaurants can effectively integrate cultural elements into your checklist. So we're going to basically melt a couple things together. I'm going to take your checklist that you have now. We're going to kind of merge or melt into some cultural elements, because by doing this, we're not only just to ensure that the team does the task, but they do the task 100% and they do it to the standards and expectations you want. I'm going to talk about applications, practical strategies like defining clear expectations. We're going to talk about empowering through ownership. We're going to talk about integrating core values. I'm going to talk about rewarding and recognizing employees. We're going to talk about continuous feedback and fostering ongoing training and development. And also, by the time we get done with this, I'm going to highlight the critical role that leadership plays, especially leading by example, which is actually going to cement everything together. And all these pieces are going to fit into that rhythm that we have for our daily ops. When you embrace these strategies, I'm telling you, not only are you going to streamline your operation, but you're also going to create a vibrant atmosphere where the staff, they're motivated. The processes are optimized and your guests leave all the time delighted. Remember, this is not just about maintaining standards, it's about elevating your entire operations to new heights of excellence, efficiency, and eventually profitability. So, you guys ready? Let's rock and roll. So I talked about this before. If I gave you a 3-digit lock and I said open a lock, you probably couldn't, because most people have the combination backwards. What do I mean by the combination? The combination of 3P framework is always people, product, process. Most people have the combination totally backwards. And see if you're making this mistake. Most people start with product because every restaurant has a menu. And then they realize, oh, you know what? I probably need some checklist, which we're not going to follow. And I'm probably going to need some P&L. I probably need some recipe cards. I probably need to do that stuff. I should probably hire some people, Luke. We should probably train them a little bit too. Or you think we just hire people and just throw them to the wolves? That's what a lot of restaurants do. Here's what I want you to remember and write this shit down. People feeds process. Process feeds people. What does that mean? Every month, someone will call me and they'll say, Donald, I'm frustrated. And I'll say, why are you frustrated? And they'll say, my team's not following the checklist. Oh my God, the theme of today's call. And I'll say, well, what's wrong with the checklist? And they'll say, well, nothing's wrong with the checklist. You gave me the checklist. I'll say, okay, if the checklist is good, it's the people part. Remember, all business problems are people problems. They don't know why it's important. They haven't been trained properly. They don't understand the culture. They don't have buy-in. They're in compliance, not commitment. Or maybe, just maybe, I might have the wrong person on the team. And then every month someone will call me and say, Donald, I'm frustrated. And I'll say, why are you frustrated? They say, well, I went home this afternoon to go walk the dogs. I come back and everyone's just standing around. They're on their phones. They're on Snapchat. They're on TikTok. They're watching reels. It's driving me crazy. These kids just drive me to drink. Don't start drinking yet. Okay. I'll ask you, do you have processes in place? Do you have timed process in place? 11 o'clock to this, 12 o'clock to this, 1 o'clock to this. No. But they should know what to do. They don't know what to do, right? You got to understand, everyone who works in your restaurant up until the time they were 18 have been told their whole life what to do, when to go to class, when to have lunch, when to go to recess. Everything's been structured so much. And now they're adults, right? They graduate high school and now they're adults and they're supposed to figure it all out. And they haven't figured it out. Trust me, they're still fighting with it. When people in process are solid, here's what it does. And this is what I want you to start focusing on. Focus on the people, focus on the process. When you have those two together, they insulate and protect your product. The same thing as saying people and process protect your brand. So that 3P framework, what I talked about, is a roadmap for you. It is a proven roadmap. 2,800 restaurants have used this roadmap with success. I will tell you, and we see this a lot in the TRC method. If you want to win the game, follow the frame. That's all you got to do, right? It's not, I always say restaurant success isn't rocket science, it's people science. This is it right here. So today we're going to integrate and we're going to talk about some cultural stuff. I'm going to be taking some stuff out of my third book, Your Restaurant Culture Sucks. And we're going to talk about integrating a strong cultural elements like we talked about into your checklist. So I'm going to take you down the rabbit hole. And at first thing we got to do is our first stop is, of course, let's talk about culture. One of my favorite topics, actually. So if you've ever heard me talk about restaurant growth or restaurant success or a restaurant success pyramid, there are 4 levels. Any restaurant market I go to in the world, this model has been proved. I've traveled to 23 different countries around the world. This model works no matter where I'm at. I'm in Michigan, I'm in Ohio, I'm in Texas, I'm in Bogota, I'm in Mexico City, I'm in Madrid, I'm in Dubai, I'm in Italy. It doesn't matter. This model works. 20% of all restaurants are bad. That means they're struggling. They're losing money or maybe breaking even. 60% of all restaurants are surviving. That means they're good. They're doing the national average, anywhere from 0 to 6% profit. Great restaurants are thriving. 15% of all restaurants are great. They're doing any 7 to 15% profit. And that top level, that's the outstanding restaurants. Those restaurants are doing 18% or higher in profit. Only 5% ever make it to that top. My goal with my coaching is to get all my clients to that top level, get you to outstanding level. The average person in our coaching program right now in the accelerator program is 19.8% profit. That's pretty good. Now, here's the part I want you to really pay attention to on the right-hand side. Each level of success has a corresponding culture with it. And I can tell you with a shadow of a doubt, the restaurants that have the best profitability have the best culture. Seriously. I mean, no, and you probably want to think, oh, no way, that's a bunch of bullshit. No, it's not bullshit. It's truth. Bad restaurants have a toxic culture, right? What is a toxic culture? The team runs the restaurant their way. And you've seen these restaurants. This is where I go into a restaurant and the manager's hiding in the office because they're scared. They're scared of the team. They're doing power shots. The team's like eating whatever they want. They're on their phones. They're just chatting. They're doing whatever they want to do. I mean, that's a toxic culture where the team runs a restaurant, but unfortunately, they run it their way. Next level up is where most restaurants act. 60% of restaurants are good. They have a training culture. It's where you train on the front end. Almost every restaurant does this. Everyone gets hired, onboarded, and then you do the training. It's the 2-day, 3-day, 4-day, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, follow. And then after that, you turn them loose and there's no continuing education, no redevelopment of their skills. And we kind of get stuck. That's a training culture. Next level up is where we try to elevate to. That's called a learning culture. A learning culture is where the team wants to learn, grow, and develop. They have this mindset of 1% improvement. I want to be 1% better today than I was yesterday. This is critical to elevating your culture. You got to get to this thing where, and I'll tell you right now, everyone who's on this call, you are in the learning culture part because you're here on this webinar trying to learn, grow, and develop and want to be better. So congratulations, because you have made the first step into getting to that top level, which is the leadership culture. Now, leadership culture, what's the difference between a leadership culture and a toxic culture? Leadership culture is an accountability culture. Here's where the team runs the restaurant, but the big difference is they run the restaurant your way. That's the goal. Now, a lot of people look at this thing and go, hey, Donald, man, I'd love just to go from, can I just jump from training to learning to leadership? And I go, unfortunately, no. You have to go through each level. You can't go from training to leadership. You have to go from training to learning and then to leadership. There's also a beautiful thing out there called the achievement triangle. And this is the stuff like a lot of people don't talk about. I love like peak performance. I love science of achievement, stuff like that. The achievement triangle is another thing to that. And also, if you look at this achievement triangle, I'm going to give you a reference to it. You're going to see really close similarities. That bottom part, comfort zone, this is where most people operate. They're satisfied with the way things are. They're very comfortable. They don't want to take any risks. The next level up is that kind of performance zone, right? Less people there, a little more commitment, a little occasional risk, occasionally uncomfortable. Most, I would say, like half in, half out. That next level up is that high performance zone. This is where people are willing to take a risk. They're uncomfortable. They want to learn, grow, and develop. They're very, very uncomfortable. In fact, the more uncomfortable you get, the better they feel. And then that top level peak performers are basically, these people are super comfortable with being uncomfortable. They constantly pushing the envelope. Now, look at this achievement triangle and look at my restaurant success pyramid. Do you see a correlation? Toxic cultures have comfort zones. Training cultures, we got like 50-50. You got some people in the boat, some people are out, some people are in, some people are out. And then that next level is up. We move up to learning. We get that high performance zone and that peak level zone. So today I'm going to take you through an acronym. Hashtag write this down. It doesn't make sense. I tried to make a word out of it. I couldn't do it. I tried to get direct, or I kind of had like direct L, but then the order was wrong. So DEIRCTL. Kind of rhymes, DEIRCTL. DEIRCTL. All right. Let's break down these ones, okay? Each one at a time. Start with D. What is D? If you want to start getting your team to follow the checklist, this is the foundation. I always say it's in a box because I'm a big believer in frameworks. So this is your framework for today. We're going to call it the DEIRCTL framework. So write that down in your notes. Ready? D. Define clear expectations. So how do we do that? Number one, you heard me say earlier, all business problems are people problems. Here's the other side of that coin. All people problems are communication problems. And the communication problems are usually not clear expectations. Like you assume they know what to do. I remember someone in the chat earlier wrote, yeah, I hear that all the time. They should know what to do. Lindsay wrote it down. Yeah, they don't know what to do because there's no clear expectations. So how do we implement this? How do we define our implementation or get our clear expectations down? I'm going to give you a list of stuff. It's going to be really powerful. Write this down. Create detailed job descriptions. You got to ensure everyone on your team understands specific responsibilities. The number one way to start setting accountability, start setting expectations is in your job descriptions when you're interviewing people. And I will tell you right now, you want to write your job descriptions in the first person. We talk about this in the talent attraction method. Most people's job descriptions, forgive it, but I'm going to tell you, they suck. And why do they suck? Because they're very, very generic and they're written usually in the third person. Like Luke's applying for a job as a dishwasher. Must be able to stand on his feet for 6 hours. Must be able to lift a 50-pound bag. Must like water. All right, that's the job description. Boy, Luke's really motivated now, and he really knows what his job expectations are. If you change your job descriptions to the first person where I will be, or I must be, or I will commit to, you're going to get better buy-in on your job descriptions when you change your descriptions of your job descriptions to the first person. That's number one. We do this in the talent attraction method. We take all your job descriptions and we basically take them apart. We put them back together in the first person. That's number one. Number two, use visual aids. People need checklists with photos and diagrams. Yes, people need the little pictures. Okay. The cow says moo. Okay. They need basic instructions. They need visual stuff. And they also need regular briefing. Start each shift with a briefing. You should have pre-shift. Who right now, just as a show of yes or no, and no judgment here, no judgment on me, who has a pre-shift every day? Yes or no? Pre-shift every day, yes or no? No. Yes. Nope. All right. Pre-shift every day. All right. If you don't have a pre-shift, here's what I want you to do. Take your left hand, hold it out. Take your right hand, smack your hand and say bad owner. Okay. You gotta have a pre-shift. Okay. Gotta have a pre-shift. All right. Oh, look at Nathan and a post shift. Bing, 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 bing. Nathan gets bonus points for having a post shift. You should have a pre-shift and a post shift. Right. Regular check-ins. Now, why do we need visual aids? Because people learn different ways. There's different learning modalities. When we start talking about learning theory, adult learning theory especially, there's 4 different learning modalities everyone has. And your training systems have to have a little bit of everything. Visual learners, these are people who can read something. If you love to read books and you love to get information from books and love to read, you're a visual learner. Some people are auditory. Some people love audiobooks. I have a lot of people, when I tell them I have a new book come out, the first thing they say is, when's it out on audio? They don't want to listen. They don't want to read a book, but they love listening to books. That's an auditory learner. Some people are kinesthetic. In the restaurant business, a lot of the jobs we have are kinesthetic in the sense that I have to touch it, feel it, go through the motion. It's like I could give Luke a book on how to make a pizza, but until he really gets in a kitchen and plays with the dough, understands the elasticity and the feel of the dough and how to stretch it, he can read a book all day long. It doesn't give him practical information because he has to have that kinesthetic experience. And then tactile learners are people who love to take notes. They like to draw, they like to scribble, things like that. I'm a tactile learner. So all of my coaching programs and all my coaches are trained to give coaching in all 4 learning modalities. Okay. And that's like one of the reasons I say at the beginning of every workshop, I say, make sure to have a piece of paper and a pen, write stuff down, 70% retain over 30 days. Yeah. That's because I'm appealing to the tactile learners. I also give you a visual representation because I have the slides. I also have auditory. I change my voice. I change my patterns to give a more inflection so you're paying attention. And then for the kinesthetic learners, every once in a while, I'm going to say, drop and give me 20. Okay. That's all I got. Perfect. So D, right? E, empower through ownership. In my last book I came out with, it's called Savage Restaurant Success. I love looking at words and I'm playing with words, and I love the phonetics of words. When you say ownership, here's what I hear. And you'll never hear ownership the same way again. Whenever you hear the word ownership, I want you to break it down into phonetics. Own your shit. Okay. Ownership is about owning your shit. That's all it is. Like whenever you say, hey, I want someone to have some ownership, it's like own your shit. Okay. So we have to empower through ownership. And ownership's not about them being owners, but taking accountability, aligning with the vision, mission, and core values we have. So how do we do that? We assign leaders. We designate team leaders from different areas, kitchen, bar, and we empower them to take charge of their section's checklist. Every checklist in your kitchen or in your restaurant should have someone who's accountable for it, a go-to person. Because here's the thing I will tell you, if everyone's accountable, no one's accountable. Someone has to be the go-to. Someone has to be the line in the sand. You ever heard of the word, have you heard it in psychology called the bystander effect? The bystander effect is a psychological principle they do. And they've done this as like a demo. They've put like people like someone falls down on the street and like they're screaming, help me, help me. The bystander effect is everyone assumes someone else is going to do it. Someone else is going to help them. So they don't participate. They don't help out. You have the bystander effect going on a lot of times in your restaurant because they think it's someone else's responsibility to do the checklist. Now, if someone's not accountable for that checklist, no one does it. So you want to pick someone on the team and assign someone like, hey, Luke, this is your checklist, right? Right. And then Luke knows that he's responsible for it. He knows he needs to rally the team to get everyone committed to following the checklist. Okay. Encourage initiative. Allow team members to make suggestions to improve the checklist, also based on their experiences. A lot of times we create these checklists based on templates that we got or based on stuff that we knew we did like maybe 5 years ago, and we haven't really updated the checklist. Get feedback from the team. What's working, what's not working. Most powerful question you can ask your team on a daily basis or a weekly basis is just this question right here. What's working? What's not working? That's it. Super easy. And then make sure you set accountability standards. Develop a system where the team members sign off on their checklist, and then you have to inspect what you expect. So many times we talk a big game about how important checklists are. And here's the thing, I'll give you a great example. So I say Luke works for me. And Luke works in the kitchen. I say, hey, Luke, man, this checklist is so important. Closing checklist is so important in the kitchen. So important. We have to do it every day. Have to do it every day. Have to do it every day. Luke, it's really important. You understand it's important? Luke says, yes, I understand it's important. I give Luke the checklist. Luke's all fired up. Young guy in the kitchen. He's all gung ho. He does the checklist. He comes up to me and says, Donald, here's the checklist. Hey, cool, man. Thanks. What message did I just send Luke? I told him it was all important. I had to do it. But I didn't take the initiative to double check him and give him praise or coaching for his checklist. So now all my words that Luke, it's so important, so important. He's like, this is a bunch of bullshit. Talks a big game, but no one wanted to check the checklist. Always inspect what you expect. This also gives you an opportunity to give compliments, praise. Hey, that was good. Hey, man, that was really good. Or also coaching. Hey, when we sweep, we got to get underneath the equipment, not just chalk outline like it's a dead body. Everybody ever do that before? You ever, like, you tell somebody sweep the floor and you think they know what to do? Remember, don't assume. I remember one time I had a kid, like, and I put on the checklist, sweep the floor. And I walked in the kitchen and, like, there was a line right down the middle between the tables where he swept. And, like, did you get under the tables? Well, it didn't say that. It just said sweep the floor. I swept the floor. I was like, shit, you're right. That's my mistake. I should have, like, had a little more clarity of my expectations. So I changed it. All right. That's a good one. Got to make sure you're implementing these things. I integrate core values. Right. I will tell you right now, core values are the number one driver of culture. And you cannot live or have a great culture without having good core values. Values-based training. You want to conduct training sessions that link the checklist with a core value. Like, say maybe we have a core value of responsibility or respect or accountability or integrity. Those are powerful core values to link into why the checklist has to be done. Remember I said in the beginning, the 3P framework, hey, they're not following the checklist. What's wrong with the checklist? Nothing. Well, it goes back to the people part, right? They don't know why the core values, they don't know why the culture, why it's so important. So you got to link action to core values. Number 2, storytelling. Tell stories. Hey, man, remember how, oh, remember we did this thing, and it did this, and it had this impact. Storytelling is how we learn things. Don't give people tasks. Give people a reason why they should do it. And then visibility of the values. Your core value card has to be displayed prominently. Can't be just like a poster on the wall that you never talk about. Now, one of the tools we use in the accelerator program, and it's taught inside the Know Why workshop, is we have everyone create these core value mission cards. This is the number one game changer of your culture. And if you do nothing else, if you do nothing else, get a picture of this screen right here and make a core value card for yourself. You should have anywhere from 3 to 7 core values. We find 5 to 6 is the sweet spot. You should have the core value, should have basically your definition of the core value underneath there. And then your mission should be broken down almost like into, like, I would say like a tagline. Like my mission, the mission for the Restaurant Coach brand is build your brand, strengthen your team, increase your profits. Right. This one I have here, this is a restaurant group I coach out in California. Their mission is build inspiring, welcoming spaces, create lasting memories, fueling the body and the soul. That's their mission. You know why we do it like this? It's easy to remember. And then their core values: responsibility, respect, communication, accountability, hospitality, integrity. This is a powerful, powerful tool. It is probably the most powerful tool we have in our arsenal as far as changing the direction of your restaurant. If you want to get out of working in your restaurant, start working on your restaurant. That's the number one trick right there. Okay. If nothing else, take a screenshot of that, make a core value card for yourself. Next one up, reward and recognize. R. It's kind of like pirate. R. Implement a reward system. Create a recognition program that rewards compliance. Oh, actually, it should say commitment. Sorry. That was a mistype. Should reward commitment, right? Not compliance. What am I doing here? Oh, Jesus, Donald. Should reward commitment. Let me change that right now, because I don't want you guys to get the wrong. There we go. Now we got it right. Should check my slides. Rewards commitment and creativity and checklist completion could include, you could do a point system, you could do a badges, you could do all kinds of stuff. Maybe acknowledgments. Hey, someone had perfect attendance for the last month, things like that, anything like that. People love to be recognized. Gamifying stuff is the best way to get buy-in with your team. If you gamify stuff, you're going to find that you're really going to get them to really buy into it at a deep level. Celebrate success publicly. Staff meetings, newsletters, social media. Hey, I know we got a social media company here. Right? Great way to recognize your team. Hey, so-and-so just hit their 2-year anniversary with us. So-and-so has been here for 6 months. They just graduated from our culinary training program. So-and-so just got their level 1 SOM. Celebrate success publicly. And then have incentive programs. Now, a lot of times people think incentives are just like cash, but I mean, I used to give out all kinds of stuff like books. I used to give like concert tickets. There's all kinds of things you can give your team nowadays. Okay, gift cards are huge. People love Amazon gift cards. People love Apple iTunes gift cards. There's all kinds, or even just extra time off. Right. Any ideas for smaller teams, 3 teams total? Yeah, rotating weekends off or giving them an extra shift or something like that, or allowing them to come down and have dinner at the restaurant. So smaller teams are great, but a lot of times when you have a smaller team, everyone has to work on weekends, right? Now, what happens, like, let's say I have a small team. I have Luke, and this Friday, it's Luke's anniversary, and Luke has to work. And unfortunately, I need Luke to work. I can't get him off for his anniversary. So what I might say is, like, hey, Luke, we're closed Sunday, Mondays, but here's what I want you to do. Why don't you bring your wife in on Tuesday, have dinner on me? I know you couldn't celebrate your anniversary on Friday night, but hey, listen, I want to make it up to you. I want you to come in as a bonus. You've been doing a great job, man. I really want to reward you for that. That goes so much fun. You'd be shocked how, like, just birthday cards go a long way. Little things add up. Books are easy to get. I love handing out books to people. Like a lot of people in our kind of coaching program, they love like referring books to each other and handing out books to each other. Remember, we want to elevate to that learning culture. We want to get from that training culture to that learning culture, and this is the best way to do it. Okay. Yeah. And then C, continuous feedback and improvement. Oh, we're all big about this. Remember I talked about that learning culture, 1% mindset? You want to adopt this culture of continuous improvement. How do you do that? Regular review sessions, hold monthly meetings to review the checklist effectiveness, gather feedback on the staff. You want to adapt and evolve. The worst thing, and I'll tell you, like the number one thing I know a restaurant owner is dead, they just don't know it, is when they tell me this: we've always done it that way. When someone says, we've always done it that way, maybe that's the problem. There was a great thing in the world back in the like early 1900s. It was called the Model T Ford. It was a great car. It was ahead of its time. It was a car. But do you see Model T still on the road? No, because things adapt, evolve, and grow. We need to adapt and evolve and grow too. Right? Yeah, fixed mindset versus growth mindset. It's the biggest thing in the world. You have to adapt and evolve. Feedback channels, establish open channels for ongoing feedback, suggestion boxes, open formats. I love using, there's an online survey called SurveyMonkey. I love sending out surveys every quarter to my team, just asking for feedback. What can I do better as a leader? What can I do better as an owner? How can I make this experience better for you? If you focus just as much on the team experience as you do on the guest experience, you will find your culture makes a huge shift. Okay. Huge shift. Right. And I always make it anonymous. So I usually do employee surveys every quarter. SurveyMonkey is a great way because they can just do it online. They can do it on their phone. It's a great way for them to give feedback. And it also gives you a beautiful way to improve, adapt, grow, and develop. And that goes into our next thing, which is training and development. You got to have some certain things in place. Number one, you got to have structured onboarding. So many times we get people all hyped up about the interview. We get them hyped up about getting the job, and we drop the ball on the onboarding. I've seen this so many times in restaurants. So let's say like I'm the chef and Luke's my general manager, and I hired a new guy. His name's Alex, and Alex starts tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. But of course, I didn't communicate properly with Luke. Luke's at the office early. He's at the restaurant. Alex comes in. He's all fired up his first day. Hey, he peeks his head in the office. Luke's like, Luke's in the middle of something like, well, can I help you? I'm Alex. It's my first day. Who hired you? Donald. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hold on. Hey, just go have a seat up in the dining room. I'll be out there in a minute. And then Luke's getting up on me. Hey, dude, did you hire some guy named Alex? Oh, dude, yeah, I forgot to tell you. He's going to start this morning. He's going to be my new prep guy. Ah, shit, man. Well, when you coming in? Oh, I'm on my way. Traffic's really bad. I won't be here for an hour. Well, what am I supposed to do with this guy? Well, I have him fill out some paperwork or something. All right, cool. So now Luke comes out with a stack of paperwork. All right. Hey, Donald's on his way. He won't be here for an hour. Just fill out this paperwork, and then he'll get with you when he gets here. How do you think Alex feels right now? You think he's still motivated and warmed up about joining your team? Or is he probably thinking that this might have been a bad idea and that maybe that other place down the street seemed like they might have been a better option? If you ever have anybody ghost you on day 1 or day 2, it's usually because you did a shit job of onboarding. Right? You got to onboard like a rock star. In our talent attraction method, I give you an onboarding checklist. We'll make sure that you have a solid onboarding system. And then you have to offer ongoing training. Either have refresher courses, have some videos, have something they can learn, grow, and develop. You got to have training sessions. There's a couple of things all restaurants should have. You should have a marketing calendar. Luke will tell you that's important, right? You should have a training calendar, and you should have a budget. If you don't have those 3 tools, again, left hand out, right hand, smack your hand, say bad owner. You should have those 3 tools. You should have a marketing calendar, a training calendar, and a budget. If you don't have those 3 tools in place, that's a lot of times you're bleeding out money or you're losing people very, very easily by not having those tools in place. And then the last thing, of course, cross-training. Times are tight. It's hard. A lot of times it's hard to find people, especially living in a small town. You're trying to find people to work at your restaurant. A lot of times you need to have people that can do more than one job. Remember, I did a consulting job probably around 2006. I was doing a consulting job back in 2006. And these guys there was a line cook, and there was like nothing going on in the line. Line was dead, no tickets. And the guy's just standing there. He's just kind of just standing there, like, looking down the ground. And they were really buried on prep. We just got like crushed at lunch. And like a lot of people were like catching up on prep, get restocked for dinner. And I said, hey, can you go help out with prep? This is what he told me. I'm just a line cook. I said, didn't you get trained on prep before you became a line cook? No. They just taught me how to line cook. You don't know how to prep? No. I was like, oh my God. What a waste right here. Everyone should be cross-trained. Your lines, your kitchen, your service team should be fluid. I had a kid one time when I had my first restaurant. I had a kid tell me one time, it's not my job. Anybody ever had anybody tell you that? It's not my job. I had a kid tell me that one time. He said, it's not my job. I said, you know what? You're right. It's not your job anymore. Thank you. Have a good day. And I said, good luck. No, I don't put up with that. Yeah, it's not my job. All right, you're right. Make sure you cross-train. And then finally, the L in our little scenario is you got to lead by example. I'm a big believer in words, powerful words. Phonetics is huge. Managers manage, leaders lead. Okay. You have to have involvement. Your managers, your senior staff have to complete the checklist themselves. They have to set the example that they do their own checklist. They have to demonstrate their commitment to the process. You have to have an open door policy. People need to be able to talk to you, be approachable. You want to know a good test to see if you're approachable or not? Walk up to someone on your team just randomly and go, hey, you got a minute? I want to talk to you. If they look shocked and scared, you're not approachable. You have an intimidation factor on him. Like if Luke walks up to anybody on his team, Luke, if you walked up and go, hey man, you got a minute? Can you talk? You think they, oh yeah, sure, Luke, right? Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then lead by doing. Leaders lead. Managers manage. Leaders lead. Leaders should be actively seen participating in all areas, helping with tasks, filling in with needed. There's no reason to be a leader. I would say a manager hides in the office during service. You need to be where the action is. During service, you should be on the floor, coaching, training, developing your team, giving them guidance. So let me give you an example of what this can do for you as far as the bottom line. So I'm going to give you a kind of a case study of Bella's Bistro. Bella's Bistro was once there. They were in Charlotte, and they had seen some better days. Despite they had a great location, once had a super loyal guest base. They had really great profits, but their profits started dwindling down to 2%. All right. 2%. Staff turnover super high, right? 80%. Morale was low, and the dining room was pretty much half empty. Management was at a loss. The owner was at a loss. Didn't understand what can we do to turn this thing around, and it looked like they were going to close. That's how bad it was when they reached out for some coaching. So, what was the challenge? The challenge number one is they had a pervasive lack of accountability among the staff. Tasks were only often partially completed, or maybe not at all, like half-done checklists. No one took ownership of their responsibilities. Everyone blamed and shamed everyone else. Not my job. That was so-and-so. He didn't do it. I didn't do this. It was all a lot of blame and shame. And that lack of accountability led to operational inefficiencies, poor guest service, and ultimately that 2% profit. The team knew they had to overhaul stuff. They just didn't really know how about going around it. So what did? I went in, we did like a little strategy session with them, and we implemented, number one, leadership workshops. The leadership team went under a leadership training on how to actually become a better leader and how to create a culture of accountability. They learned the importance of leading by example. They also learned about clear communication. They learned about emotional intelligence and how to reinforce standards without being a jerk. How you can hold people accountable and actually still give them dignity. Okay. We talked about defining their core values. We went through that Know Why workshop. We basically got their core values dialed down. We had like quality, service, integrity, communication, accountability. These values were integrated to do every area of their operations, and the managers and leaders talked about them daily. We do a thing called the Daily 5 Sermon. We revamped all the training programs. We got them off this kind of just training platform where they only trained on the onboarding. We had a continuous comprehensive training program that was good for the whole year. We had roles, we had job descriptions and training paths for every job description. We focused more on the impact of the individual performance and on team dynamics. That improved guest satisfaction. We started implementing more operational checklists. Now, the operational checklists were developed for every department, and then we also gave someone accountability for each checklist. So someone had a checklist, they were accountable for the checklist. So we know who to go to. If the checklist wasn't done, we had one person, not, hey, who didn't do the checklist? Who did this? Who didn't do this? One person. Remember the Lord of the Rings? One ring to rule them all? Well, the same thing. You want one person in charge. We had accountability meetings every week at first. We started talking about performance. We discussed issues. We celebrated successes. We wanted to keep the team really focused and keep them going forward with ongoing adjustments and anything they need to do. And then finally, we set up a rewards and recognition program. Right. We started giving rewards out for perfect checklists, perfect attendance. We started giving up all kinds of things. And again, awards don't have to be huge. I mean, like a little gift card. I mean, nowadays, gas prices and stuff like that. I mean, you'd be shocked if you're in a major metropolitan area, like, a public transportation card is great for people. Giving people gas cards is great for people. Giving people, $20, $40 to a grocery store to help their family out is great for people. Right. And sometimes it doesn't have to be like that kind of bonus thing. It could just be recognition. Giving them awards, giving them certificates. You can go on Canva and you can print out a certificate every day and hand them out to people. So what was the results? Well, within 6 months, we had dramatic changes. They were out of the danger zone. We saw this really big culture shift towards accountability. We had commitment from the staff that improved service quality, operational efficiency. And then what it did to the bottom line, we took profits from 2% to 12%. Staff turnover dropped by 50%. It was huge. And then the guest satisfaction ratings went from a 3.5 to 5 stars on almost all platforms. It was great. So this demonstrates the power and the impact that culture has on accountability has on a restaurant's operations and profitability. By aligning leadership, revamping training, implementing effective operational tools, recognizing staff efforts, Bella's was able to transform from once like almost on the brink of closing to crushing it. All right. But wait, here's your gift for attending. Luke, sorry. Now, I'm going to have to send him to Luke, and Luke's going to have to send him to you. So your gift for today for showing up, and I should have thought about how many people, I had like 10 people last time. Now I have like 100 people, like 30 people this week, right? Great. Yeah. All right. For showing up live, and it's only for live. If you're watching the replay, I'm sorry you had to show up live. But you never know what I might give away next week because I'm like that. I might do something crazy. So here's your gift for attending today. I'm going to give you a paperback copy of my third book, Your Restaurant Culture Sucks. I will send them to Luke, his office, and then he will send them out to you. Okay? You will get a paper copy of my third book, Your Restaurant Culture Sucks. 325 fantastic pages for your reading pleasure. All right. Now, before we leave today, let me allow you to ask you a question. If I dropped you off out in the middle of the woods with nothing more than a water bottle, out in the middle of this, wilderness area, do you think you could navigate back to civilization? Nada. No. Oh, Nathan could. All right. Some people could. Some people say yeah. Some people say no. All right. I would say, maybe you could probably navigate back. If it was a night nav, you might have a hard time. It was at nighttime. But here's the thing I will tell you without hesitancy and with 100% certainty. If I gave you a topographical map and I showed you how to read a topographical map and I gave you a compass, you can navigate out every single time. Well, that's what coaching is. And coaching is like I give you a map and I give you the compass. The map is the plan, that 3P framework I showed you, that accelerator program is the map. And then the compass is coaching. And for the last 14 years, my coaching programs have helped over 2,800 independent restaurants. Coaching provides you with two critical elements that you need: accountability, which we talked about today, and also gives you new tools. All right, so the accelerator program is the fastest way to make it to the top. If you want to go from where you are to where you want to be in the fastest amount of time, this is the path to get there. And I want to load you up with all the tools you need to be successful. So in our accelerator program that we offer only through Restaurant Growth, you're going to get the Restaurant Success Series. You're going to get the 10X Seminar Series, Level Up System. That's going to help you with peak productivity, manage your time better. You can get my little booklet, Outstanding Mindset, and the audiobook. You're going to get your Restaurant Sucks audiobook. You're also going to get some of my workshops I do. I do this big 3-day summit here in Scottsdale every year. 18 workshops each day, so that's 60 workshops right there. You're also going to get the 3 frames to thrive, talk about how you actually extract out that people, product, process stuff at a deeper level. You're going to get a team one team workshop, talk about behavioral strengths. How do I get my right people in the team? How do I know I got the right people in the team? Am I the right person to lead the team? What do I do if I got the wrong people in the team? And we use a tool called the Pro Scan. You're going to get that Know Why workshop, which is going to help you break out and get that core value out of your head. We give you that talent attraction method with all the tools you need to actually create a whole system to help you basically attract better talent, recruit better, interview better, onboard better, train better, and retain better. Food Cost Bootcamp is modules going to teach you how to get your theoretical food cost dialed in so you can make more money. Just by doing the theoretical food cost bootcamp, the food cost bootcamp, people usually find 5% easy right away. And then, of course, Extreme Menu Makeover, where I take your menu apart, put it back together using some menu psychology. I can usually find another 3% there. So if your restaurant's struggling like at 5-6% profit, just by doing the food cost boot camp and the menu engineering and extreme menu makeover, you can usually get from 5, that's 10, 13% right there. Restaurant marketing machine is more about organic content, how to really drive the needle. Because when you get the organic game nailed in, then Luke and his team can really, really amplify 10x your paid game for you. That's going to add another 2% right there. So now you went from 5 to 10 to 13 to 15% profit. Restaurant tracks every download I've ever collected over the years. StratMap's going to give you a strategic plan. So you have that marketing calendar. So you have that training calendar. And then the profit clinic's how I show people how to get that high level profitability. That's how I get people up to 18% and higher. And of course, like Luke mentioned it, you also get one-on-one coaching with one of my certified restaurant coaches. It's over 200 hours, 380 downloads. All you got to do is just speak to someone on the restaurant growth team. I'm not going to hard sell it. You know, I mean, it's there. All right. And then we're going to open up for Q&A. If anybody has any questions.
Fire away.
Any questions?
Thank you, Donald.
Any questions? No questions?
Oh, we got to have some questions. Guys, while you're typing up your questions here, let me just show you real fast.
Stop up the questions. Stop up the questions.
If
Give me a question.
Lindsay got a question here.
Best media for checklist. So normally, we start with, I always have a system, just like with anything in life, you crawl, then you walk, and then you run. So we usually start off with paper, and then we move to online. And then after we move to online, like a digital format, then we move to automation, where it integrates with a lot of our systems in our restaurants, like our POS system, where it's automated and pulls information. So it's basically crawl, walk, run. So the first thing we always do when we're doing coaching is we're basically just teaching new habits. So I start off usually with paper and clipboards at first, and I have a really easy to do clipboard system. If you guys ever had a clipboard before, here's the easy one to do it. So let's say this is a clipboard, right? And I got my Savage sticker on here for my Savage Restaurant Success. So what you do is, this is what I used to do at my restaurants before we had digital stuff. This is like old school. I had clipboards. So I took a clipboard, and on the back of my clipboard, I put a green sticker, big green sticker on there. If the clipboard was facing me up on the wall, I knew it had to be done. When they got done with the clipboard and they finished everything over, they turned the clipboard over and put it on the wall so the green sticker was facing out. So that way I knew that clipboard was done, and that was my sign to go and check the clipboard. Easiest system in the world to do, and everyone can do it overnight. All you gotta do is get some green stickers. You can get them on Amazon. Put a big green sticker on the back of your clipboard. When the paper's out, facing out towards you, that means the clipboard, the checklist has to be done. When they get done with it, they turn the clipboard over so you see the green sticker so you know it's good for you to inspect what you expect. Most fastest way to get your team to use clipboards right away. And it costs you nothing. Nothing. And it works like a charm. Any other questions?
Looks like Nathan's typing one up.
Cool.
Ahmed, Alex, Alma, Ashley, Christian, Deborah, Lisa. I got a bunch of people here. Javier, Kareem, Larry. What's up, guys? Any other questions? Type them in the chat. Richard.
Oh, what's the best strategy when I want to open other restaurants, but I can't be everywhere to monitor them? So yeah, going from one restaurant to two restaurants to three restaurants takes a different mindset. That 3P framework you heard me talk about, people, product, process. The people, product, process thing is the key to scaling restaurants. And I will tell you why. When I worked for Wolfgang Puck, we used the 3P framework, even at Wolfgang Puck. All big restaurant groups use the 3P framework. The people part, how your culture is, your core values should be the same. How you hire people, how you interview people, how you train people, how you onboard people should all be the same. That's the people part. The process part was all the same at Wolfgang Puck. How we did checklist, how we did inventory, how we did budgets, how we did our strategic planning, how we did our P&Ls, all the same. So the people in the process part is solid all the way across. Only thing you have to do then is just change out the people part. And that's the beauty of like this 3P framework, is that if my people and process part is solid, it works for any brand. All I got to do is change out the product piece. That's where I can go from having a burger restaurant to a pizza place to a steakhouse to having an Italian restaurant, all in the same restaurant group. I have restaurant groups that they use this 3P framework just like clockwork. Yeah, it's easy. It's easy, super easy. But you just follow the frame and then put everything in place and you do it. How long should a checklist be? How much time should be taken? As much time as it needs to be taken, depending on your restaurant. So those are all very, very kind of, they change depending on how big the restaurant is. Anywhere from 20 to 30 items usually on a checklist is like the average. And it should take the team anywhere from it should take them half hour, 45 minutes to do a checklist. Yeah. Any tips for increasing team communication? Yes, talk to your team. There's 3 numbers you have to understand: 7, 38, 55. 7% of how we communicate is the words we use, 38% is the tone we use, and 55% is nonverbal. Most people, when they send out communication to their team, they usually do it by a text message, an email, or a memo up on the wall. That's only 7% effective communication. The most effective thing to do is sit down with your team and have a talk. Okay. Cool. Let me clarify, between members and the team. Yes, everyone needs to just have, having meetings is the best thing to have time to talk. Right. There should always be a contact person, or a person who is basically in the, who's the contact, focal point. How much time is recommended for a pre-shift? 5 minutes. That's it. 5, 10 minutes max. It doesn't need to be a long one. And we, in our accelerator program, we have checklists or frameworks for all that stuff. So we have all that stuff. Onboarding, part-time or full-time, same process, no matter if it's part-time or onboard, full-time. What do you talk about in pre-shift? Normally I talk about a core value. I talk about the 3 big things we're going to focus on today. And then I talk about maybe what's happening in the restaurant. It's a simple, short checklist. How should you approach culture when it's at its lowest point? Where do you start when it's very bad? Start with the owner. Start with you, because you've gotten beat up a little bit for a while, and you're a little discouraged and a little disgruntled. So we got to kind of start with you and get you going. And then we find a couple people in the team. We start with that core value card. We start implementing it slowly. Most of my restaurants come to me, they have cultures that are not where they need them to be. So it's easy to fix, but you need to have a path and a plan to do it. Awesome. Hey, good. Yeah. You see, that's one thing I love to hear is say, hey, I wonder well with a machine, but I'm not sure quite to get it out of it. But yeah, I love to give you guys value, and you guys show up on these calls on Wednesdays. My job is to make sure you get tons of value. I want to say thanks for being here today. I appreciate you being here. And so in your community and circle, I'm in your community. You can always text me or email me or chat, send me a message. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have. I will send 30 books to Luke.
Giving me some homework, huh?
Yeah, no, sorry, Luke. I should have talked to you beforehand. Yeah.
No, it's all good. It's great, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah, we had this pretty cool thing with Zoom where we were able to see who's attending the Zoom calls. So
yeah, that's awesome.
If you are here, we'll send the books to your restaurant, or we'll contact you if we need to send them somewhere else.
Yep.
Just as a friendly reminder, I'm not sure if you guys can see my screen right now, but can you guys see?
You're still seeing mine. There we go. I'm out. Now you're in.
So just a reminder, you guys, these webinars are going to be all recorded and then placed in your webinar portal here. So on the left-hand side, there's a bunch of different topics of trainings. And all of these that we're doing here with Donald Burns are going to be under the 3P framework and the TRC method to boost profitability to 18% plus. So all of these are going to be right in this training course here. As you can see, the 2 that we did the last 2 weeks are right there. You can just simply click on them, watch the entire training. If there's any sort of PDFs or downloads, it's going to be right there as well. So just remember that if you are not on these live calls every week, obviously being on the live call is better, but you can always access them later. Also, big fan of delegation, right? So if you have this type of stuff that you want your GM or someone else to just come in and watch, you can obviously do that as well. One other note before we jump off, guys. I know, Donald, I'm sure you got to run.
Yeah, I got you.
Definitely appreciate you being here today, guys. This one other side note that this is a very a big tangent that's not relevant to this, but it's about reviews, your online reputation. We're going to be holding some workshops, some group call workshops with all of our clients in our advertising service here. Donald, you can jump. Thanks for being
All right.
here.
Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
it. Yep, see ya. For those of you who are all here, we're going to be doing some workshops. This will not apply to you if you are just a webinar client, but if you're in our advertising program, we're going to be doing a workshop where it just shows you how to get more online reviews. Obviously, Google reviews, Yelp reviews, these things matter a lot. And when people are searching for your type of food in your area and they are looking and trying to figure out what restaurant to go to, a lot of times people make their decisions based on reviews. Obviously, they're going to pick a restaurant that they don't know about that has 1,000 reviews over a restaurant that they don't know about that has 76 reviews or 176 reviews, right? So having more reviews is a huge advantage. So we're going to be holding some workshops pretty soon here, probably next week, maybe this Friday, but we'll let you know when we're going to do those around how you can easily get over 1,000 reviews in just a handful of months. And we're actually able to send out you some cards, and it's pretty cool. So keep an eye out for that. That's really going to help you guys acquire more new customers just for free, just from people searching for you online. A couple questions here coming on in. Let's see. Yes. So Jose is asking, is there a roadmap on how to approach all the lessons? Yes, it's a great question you have. So Jose, if I just share this with you here. So on my screen on the left-hand side here, I would recommend working from the top down. We're going to be probably restructuring a little bit how this left-hand column works here, just to give you like a starting point of like, hey, start here. I'm actually going to show you this. Show you this real fast. Now to give you like a visual of this restaurant success pyramid here. So Jose, it's a really great question. So basically, there's not just one thing that is going to help your restaurant succeed. It's a combination of many, many different things. It's like an equation. So, a lot of times you'll see people online or gurus or people talking about like, do this one thing and have massive success. Probably not how it works. In most cases, it's a combination of things. So in this restaurant success pyramid, we have like a foundational thing, and then you want to work up from there. So obviously the first thing to do is making sure your margins are in a good place, right? Because if you have no margin, you have 0% margin, 2% margin, whatever, and you get a bunch of sales coming in, you're not going to make any money from those sales. So we want to make sure that your margin is in a really healthy place to start. And then everything that you bring on, every customer you acquire, you just make more money. You take home more pay into your personal bank account. So we'll put this visual, Jose, we'll put this visual like in our portal so you can just kind of follow this. But you're going to want to start with the stuff on the bottom. It's the stuff that Donald talks a lot about. It's the people, it's the products, it's the process, right? It's the operational stuff to help you have more margin, the food costing, the menu design, stuff like that. And then you want to start thinking about your acquisition. And in the acquisition game, it's like what comes first, right? So we like to focus on search. It's like having great content. It's having over 1,000 reviews. It's making sure your online listings are optimized. Then from there, you can focus on running ads to acquire more customers because you've got a nice foundation. When people see you from an ad, they look you up on Google. They're impressed. You have great reviews, over 1,000 reviews, and you have awesome photos. You're more likely to acquire that customer. And then at the tip top here, we have email and text. This is a great way to build retention and keep those customers coming back more often. So this is the framework of where you want to start. Start here, then go from there. So we've structured this portal similarly to that. So we've got these lessons here talking about profitability, and then you got search, advertising, direct messaging. Obviously, in this triangle here, this is not every single thing that you can do at your restaurant, but it's a lot of the fundamentals. So, Jose, to answer your question in a short way, I would recommend go through these modules here for the 3P framework, and then just work yourself down on this list from the top down. So anyway, hope that answers your question. Alrighty, guys. Well, you spent about what 72 minutes with us today, so definitely appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here. Next week we are going to be talking about interviewing. So mastering the art of behavioral interviewing, selecting star talent. So same day and time next week, we're going to be talking about interviewing, getting awesome talent. And yeah, hope to see you there, guys. If you got any questions, as always, you can ping us inside the group here. You can shoot us a message. You can talk to Donald in there as well. But definitely appreciate all of you for being here. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon. All right, guys. See you later.